Hi everyone, good morning, wherever you are in the world. We're going to start today a little bit differently than we have been normally. And I'm going to draw some cards for this week, and we're going to look at the moon this week and some of the transits that are taking place. It's a super windy day up here in the mountains in Colorado, and I'm wondering what it's like for you today. There's been a lot of interesting things moving through. I'm hearing from others that there is a lot of strange and unusual things happening today. So we'll take a little bit of a look at that as well. We do have some changes coming in about an hour, so that's going to be important to address. And I want to hear from you. So if you're listening, if you're watching live right now, make sure that you have your Jyotish chart with you, and we can talk about that and some chart specifics for you. So be sure to type into the chat, ask your questions. I'm following along both on my phone and in the Facebook group on my computer as well. So we've got some interaction that can take place. Let me know your questions for the week, your thoughts, your needs, and we'll take it from there. I see that there are a few of you watching. You can just holler and say hello, type into the chat, let me know what your questions are for the week ahead, and I'll tackle those. Before we get started, I want to light a candle and just say a little mantra for the week ahead. I know there's a lot of challenges taking place right now for so many, and it's a vulnerable time. So let's take a pause. I invite you to take a breath with me. And I'm going to burn a little Palo Santo. And if you know the Michinjaya Mantra, you can, hi Michelle, welcome. If you know the Michinjaya Mantra, you can follow along with me. We can all say it together. This is a mantra that supports transition, transformation, and change. It's a powerful mantra for release and letting go. We've just had the new moon early Saturday morning, and it was a Scorpio new moon. The nakshatra that the moon was moving through was Vishaka nakshatra, and this ushers in a 2-week cycle during the waxing cycle of needing support, needing to gather support and resources in order for transformation and change. I've seen a lot out there about what the Scorpio new moon actually means, and there's been some oversimplification as usual. Scorpio is a powerful sign of transformation, and but what we want to pay attention to is the nakshatra, the constellation that the moon is moving through at the time of the new moon. That really is key to understanding the nature of the themes and the trends and the intention for the cycle ahead. And when we're working with Vishaka Nakshatra, we're working with duality and the need for integration, harmonizing polarities and opposition. And we do that through gathering support. We do that through gathering guidance and resources. We do that through acknowledging differences and using those differences as resources rather than a separation, rather than a negation of or a positive rather than a negative. Vishaka Nakshatra also has to do with the king and the priest. So there's a need for both spirituality and materialism, and that's another polarity to integrate at this time. how to actually incorporate both. So I want to invite you to set your intentions for the cycle ahead. Gather support, gather guidance, gather resources, gather the tools that you need in order to make different choices. That seems to be a really important theme and a key right now in terms of unlocking your potential. I'm seeing a lot of people, myself included, resisting support and new resources and gathering new support team in place. And so we don't want to do that. We want to ask for help. We want to ask for support. We need to gather guidance, resources, and tools in order to make different choices. So different choices bring different results. So remember that. We all need support. And that's the key component of Vishaka. So I want to invite you to notice, where are you resisting new resources and support? Where are you not getting the guidance that you need? Where are you, rather than letting old support go and not replacing it with new support, where are you refusing or resisting or avoiding getting new support in place? This is a time of restructuring our support systems with Saturn going through Mula Nakshatra. And so if you've been letting old support go, or if it's been leaving, you want to remember to find new resources to put in their place. And to look at where you're resisting that. Usually it has to do with fear and deservability issues. And on some level, resisting the transformation process. And my question is for you, why? Why might you be resisting that change? That's a question we all need to be asking ourselves. Why would I not want to up level? Why would I be afraid to ask for support and resources? Why might I not feel like I deserve to step into my power and purpose more fully? Okay, so let's start with our Michinjaya Mantra. And you can follow along with me. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshihi Amamritat Mrityor Mukshihi Amamritat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And I'm going to pull a card from my plant wisdom deck. This deck is always so spot on. So let's just set our intentions for the week ahead. We've got, in the US, we have Thanksgiving on Thursday. A lot of people will be with family. This time brings up a lot of grief for so many of us. And it's a time of change and transition. Waxing moon has already started. And we're gathering, we're acquiring in the days ahead. So setting your intention. And I'm going to pull a card here. So the plant wisdom is from tamarack. It's actually a pine. And the key words for this week are ability, confidence, determination, individuality, knowing, and self-esteem. And the affirmation to remember for this week is, I know who I am and what I can do. I live life with confidence and self-determination. I know who I am and what I can do. I live life with confidence and self-determination. So what are some action steps you can take in the coming days to support your confidence and your self-determination? What resources, what tools can you gather? What support can you gather in order to step into more confidence and self-determination? This is a really important theme right now, and it's one that I'm super passionate about. So thank you, Tamarack, for that reminder. If you haven't listened to my full moon class from last weekend, we stepped into a lot of issues and dynamics around power, especially the feminine power. And that was a big part of the class, is embracing patriarchy and misogyny and identifying where we're playing small. So before I dive into transits, I'm just going to go on a little tangent here because it's something I'm so passionate about right now. And I'm seeing a lot of women stay stuck. And sometimes I feel really emotional about this because I want all of us, this is my passion, this is my Dharma, is to support my clients and my community and those in my life in a way that helps you remember your power and your purpose. And one of the places I get stuck is when I watch someone disempower themselves. When I watch someone get close to the door, open the door, and even see what needs to shift and change in themselves and in their lives in order to step into their power in a bigger way, and then they close the door. It's so hard to watch. I understand we all have our own paths, and a big part of the journey for me is detachment and letting go and remembering that everyone has their own path. But it's so hard to watch. It's so hard to watch brilliant, smart, capable women open the door and then choose to close it. And I want to invite all of us to look at those places where we open the door, where we look and we see what needs to shift and change in ourselves and in our lives. And rather than being afraid of closing the door, actually keeping the door open, asking for support, resources, guidance to help you keep walking, because it's hard and we all need support. We all need guidance. We're communal peoples. We're supposed to have teams in place around us to remind us when we forget, to hold our hand when we feel lonely. That's my role. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I want you to know your truth. I want you to know your power. I want you to know your purpose. And I need that as well. That's why I have a team in place and I'm continuing to gather resources, because I forget that. And I know there's more for me to go, and I'm wanting to step into my power in bigger and bigger ways right now. And I'm needing support with that up-leveling. And I believe that when we're honest about our path and we have that support for our path, we can make that happen. So look at those places where you're playing small. Look at those places where you're negating your truth, where changes, yes, have to be made. Decisions have to be made. Hard decisions even have to be made. But be willing to face that and get the support that you need in order to make those changes. And I'm here on your support team. All you have to do is ask. Every week I open up my schedule for a couple of people who are ready to step into their power and say yes to their path. And reach out to me if you want to be on that list and get a free coaching session. I'll post a link above this video after we finish today. All right, are there any questions today? All you have to do is type into the chat. I see we have a few folks following along today. And I want to welcome you. Thank you for showing up live. It's always more fun when there are people here. Hi, Nicole. I see Carol, Nicole, Kathleen, Christina, Michelle. I want to welcome you all today. All right, let's dive into the transits. If you have your chart with you, pull it out and you can track along with me. So at the time of this video, I pulled the chart and Moon is at the very edge of Scorpio. So, hi Nicole. The last few days we've been working with a debilitated moon. A lot of us have been feeling that level of new moon and debilitated moon. That moon turns inward. So an exalted planet, the energy moves outward. And a debilitated planet, the energy moves inward. Neither is right or wrong, neither is good or bad. It's not a judgment on, what's better. A lot of Jyotishis make that call, and I don't see it that way. It just is. So it's like, how do you use that energy? And the past few days, that energy's been turning inward. So I hope that you've been utilizing this time for more silence, more inner awareness, more self-care, more rest. It's essential that we do that consistently in these cycles. Now, within the hour, Moon will shift into Mula Nakshatra and moving into the Gandanta of Mula, and moving into conjunction with Saturn. So Sagittarius and Mula Nakshatra, that conjunction with Saturn, we see that for the next 2.5 days. And this brings grief. This brings uprooting and transformation on the emotional body level. So we want to be mindful of those inner emotions that are coming out. What are the needs that are showing up? And how is your grief being confronted? What are the needs of your grief? Grief is very intelligent, and grief has the ability to tell us where those holes are in our support system, in our self-care, where we're not asking for what we really need. Grief is very intelligent that way. So I want to invite you to really notice, what is your emotional body saying in the coming days? What are the needs? As Moon shifts into direct conjunction with Saturn, we see that grief intensify. So Mula continues until tomorrow. Tomorrow late afternoon. I'm on Mountain Time, so remember your time zone does shift things a bit. And so compare your timing to Mountain Time Zone. And so late afternoon tomorrow, Moon moves past Saturn into Purva Ashada. Water comes. For some of you, that might mean rain. For some of us, it might be snow. For some of us, it might be tears and emotions. Keep your emotional body moving. It's important to keep your inner waters moving. So find ways to do that. Support that transformation. On Wednesday, early evening, Moon will shift into the final constellation of Sagittarius, and that is Uttara Ashada. And this has to do with integrity, with righteous action. It supports Dharma, and it supports the sun quality, so the light of the soul. Sun has been in Scorpio now for the past few days. We'll continue to see this Scorpio depth and transformation and inner wisdom and fears and all of these parts of our depths show up. The light is now showing up to help us see where we're stuck, where we're not in right relationship with our inner light and our inner wisdom. So that light is here, and the moon will illuminate some of that dynamic in this constellation. Look for ideas, visions, even support showing up that can help you with your dharmic path and your dharmic purpose. So stay close to those parts of your path on Wednesday, and step into your power even more. So Thursday, which is in the US, Thanksgiving, for those of us that celebrate, however you want to celebrate, it's a day of gratitude and thanks. Moon will shift into Shravana Nakshatra. And let me backtrack. So Moon will be in Uttarashada, but then shift to Capricorn Thursday in the wee hours. And even though it will still be in Uttarashada, it will be in Capricorn. And that shifts things a bit. Moon will also be in conjunction with Ketu, which brings sudden outbursts of emotion. Whenever we have Ketu and Moon conjunct, there are sudden outbursts of anger. And I would be mindful of this because a lot of us are going to be with our family members during this time. And we might notice that there are sudden emotional outbursts as a result of this transit. What we want to remember with Moon Ketu conjunctions is the extreme sensitivity of the moon. And that's because it's touching a trauma point. So trauma will be showing up, sensitivity will be emerging, and the emotions will be in a response to that. So being mindful of that, starting on Thursday and into Friday. Moon will be in Shravana Nakshatra, which is ruled by Vishnu and truly supports Dharma. So let some of that sensitivity remind you of your path, remind you of your purpose, even though there may be some challenges and some real sensitivity. On Saturday, we see Moon shift to Dhanishta. And this constellation has to do with the Vasudevas. So they bring light. They bring Jyoti. They bring wisdom through their light. And they like to be seen. They like to be visible. They like to be acknowledged. So with the Moon Ketu conjunction, however, there can be sudden shifts, sudden changes, sudden transformation, sudden emotion. And so not a time to really take risks or be extreme. It's a time to get more rest, to go slow, to be more methodical, more mindful in our approach, in our choices, knowing that there's going to be some level of explosion. Rahu gives his gaze, of course, 7 houses away. And even though, Moon is in Capricorn, the ruling planet Saturn is kind of the link between the expression of moon. So the ruling planet of Capricorn, which is Saturn, kind of gives the flavor for how moon will be expressing itself. And Saturn, remember, is in Mula Nakshatra right now. This is that Gandanta, that very delicate Gandanta of uprooting and sudden change and transformation and chaos and uncertainty. And it's also spiritual, but it is sort of the calamity constellation. So that impacts the moon and the feeling level of the moon as well. So be expecting that level of calamity and chaos in the coming days. On Saturday, moon is in Dhanishta. That light starts to show up, but there is kind of an aggressive quality to it because of Mars, and the ruling planet of Dhanishta is Mars. And Mars is still in Virgo. There's precision, there's accuracy, there's a need to fix, there's a need to heal. Be mindful of your criticism, be mindful of your judgment. Try to stay in compassion for yourself and others. On Sunday, so we'll see moon shift into Aquarius late Saturday evening. And the gaze shifts. We get Jupiter's gaze. Moon is away from K2. Saturn still gives some influence because Saturn rules over Aquarius. So we still have that level there. And Rahu gives his 8th gaze. So, the thing about Aquarius is the duality requires integration. And so this will be a time to sort of digest and integrate for so many of us who have been with family, who may have confronted a lot in the days previous because of the K2 moon conjunction. This will give you the opportunity to sort of digest and land and integrate and start putting the pieces together. So give yourself time and space to do that. Understand that on Saturday through Sunday and even into Monday, you're going to need more time for introspection, for listening, for integrating, and harmonizing. It's like, what just happened? Especially, those that are highly sensitive, like myself, and I know most of you are, we need a lot more time for integrating and digesting. We need a lot more time. And a little stimulation goes a long way. So take that into consideration. Now, moon shifts to Satabhisha Nakshatra. Early Sunday, so in the wee hours on Sunday. Satabhisha requires extra self-care, and sort of I consider it kind of a special needs constellation. One of the reasons is that when moon goes through Satabhisha Nakshatra, it's really easy to get out of harmony and out of alignment, especially with your physical body and its wisdom. It's also extremely precise, and it has a tendency to be overly critical. And that's because the critical gaze turns in on itself and then it lashes out. So be mindful of your inner critic. Let it be a resource for you. What is it saying that it really needs? Usually it has to do with a safety issue. So where are you not feeling safe? Where are you needing to come back to center and ground? Moon in Satabhisha is a reminder to take care of your physical body, to be on a good routine, good schedule, eat well, Again, it's easy to fall off track and get sick during moon in Satabisha. It's also a constellation that can really support healing and inner wisdom if we know how to work with that critic really intelligently. So use that wisdom, and rather than criticizing yourself or turning it into a negative, I want to encourage you to use the critic in a positive way. Resource from it, harvest from it, let it tell you what it needs. That brings us into Monday, and moon will be at the very edge of Aquarius in Purvabhadra Nakshatra, and we're shifting now into gathering wisdom. We're still working with that theme of integrating and harmonizing polarities, and you may feel like you have a foot in two worlds. So it's a reminder to come back to your body, come back to your breath, keep things simple, and stay with your inner wisdom. That'll bring us to Monday and my next show, my next class. We meet every Monday at noon Mountain Time. You can bring your questions and ask them here. You can share your needs here. I'm here to answer any of your questions that I possibly can in this time that we are together. Now, two shifts that happen this week. We have Mercury moving into Sagittarius, a big uprooting of the mind. So be aware of that. That happens Friday. And Mercury will then be in conjunction with Saturn. And that uprooting of the grief that Saturn is going through touches the mind. And in the coming days and weeks, we'll be working with uprooting the grief in the mind. This might be very uncomfortable. It might be very challenging. It could show some real challenges to those who are feeling fragile, who are not grounded, who are not feeling rooted in their body. Stay in the body as much as you can. The mind will be fragile and sensitive. Whenever Saturn touches a planet, it becomes extra sensitive. So take that into consideration. Again, more resources for grounding, more resources for support, clarity, feeling held, supported, and contained. We also have a shift of Venus. Venus moves to Scorpio late Sunday, early Monday. Venus in Scorpio will touch the sun, and in the coming days and weeks, we need to be mindful of our inner resources. Do not push too hard. Do not burn yourself out. Do not burn up your inner waters. Go slow. Be gentle with yourself. Don't push or force outcomes. And I really want to remind you to look for those places where you're pushing or forcing an outcome to happen. If you're noticing struggles and challenges, especially health challenges, this is a reminder that your body is saying, stop, slow down, you're pushing too hard. We want to really keep things simple right now and notice where we're going into overdrive and we're out of balance with our inner wisdom and our inner needs. When we have a Sun-Venus conjunction, it can increase the ability to experience burnout. Burnout happens really easily, especially with Rahu giving his gaze to Scorpio and Sun and Venus there. there's going to be a certain intensity. You'll also be noticing more depth coming up around masculine and feminine issues. That's been a big one for so many, and certainly on the broader social scale right now, we're seeing a lot of the weak masculine, the imbalanced masculine come to light, and women are standing in their power more fully and saying no. And what we want to remember is to keep that integration and that harmony. There's a tendency for a lot of passion with this combination. And passion can also be anger. Passion can be challenges with the emotion. What are the underlying needs? So that's what you want to pay attention to. What are the underlying needs that are showing up with this intensity? Try to be mindful of not being aggressive and overly forceful with yourself and others. So we have 2 transits this week. Mercury moves into Sagittarius, Venus moves into Scorpio. These are big changes in terms of uprooting the mind and also finding more balance through masculine and feminine. And we've been through all of the moon transits for the week. Moon moves from Scorpio literally right now and into Sagittarius, and will go all the way into Aquarius in the coming days. And by Monday, we'll see, late Monday next week, we'll see moon shift into Pisces. And that's when we'll have our next class, and I'll go from there. And we'll talk about the wisdom for the days and weeks ahead. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm just checking the Facebook group now. Looks like we've had a few new people join us. You're welcome to post any questions or needs. Oh, looks like my page isn't loading. Let me see if I can find... Sorry guys, I can't seem to find questions. If you post or if you wave at me, that might work. I'm going to see if I can get this to load real fast. All right, so I asked this question in the group yesterday, but I just want to invite you to notice, what have you done recently to help you ground? What have you done maybe this past weekend? And what can you do today to help you ground? So I'm going to invite you to post in the chat. And let's do a little bit of resourcing from the body. And we'll see what the body has to say. Body has a lot of intelligence to share about its needs. And the best way in is to just listen and get quiet. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just start moving towards the breath. Noticing the quality of breath. Noticing the feeling level of your breath. And we're not here to shift or change anything. We're just simply bringing presence to the body. Noticing what is. And as you move closer to the breath, just bring your awareness to any sensations in the body. So tracking the sensations arriving. Again, not judging or even naming what these sensations are as good or bad, just noticing, just bringing your presence. Tracking what is arriving right now on the physical body level. And I want to invite you to notice if there's any place in the body right now where you feel a sense of grounding, where you feel a sense of support, stability. Notice where you feel that in your body right now. Tracking the sensation of support, stability, grounding that's arriving in the body right now. Even if it's just a flicker. Noticing where it lives in the body. And if you could ask this place in the body where you feel support, if you could ask this part of you to share a message with you, what would it say to you right now? So harvesting that message, what can this place of support in the body tell you? And ask this part of the body to share its need with you. So what does it need from you? And what are some ways that you can honor this need? to invite you to share your needs and your action steps in the comment box below. And this is something we can support you with this week in the group. And to post if you're struggling or you're not connecting with your body, if you're stuck, if you're having trouble, or if it's working really well. So remember that your body wisdom is here to tell you what you need. And this support and stability is available at all times. It's never not with you. It's a part of your body and its wisdom. Your job is to just keep coming home, keep landing, keep listening, continuing to harvest and resource from your own body wisdom. The days ahead are very sensitive, and so that grounding and that support and the reminders to stay close to the body are really important in the coming days. I'm going to jump over to the comments. I see some things have come in from you, so let me check in. It looks like Michelle's saying, I had a nourishing breakfast, self-massage, and worked sharing very consciously in what my strengths are. Great, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing. Where did you feel the support in your body? I'm curious. And what was the message that it shared with you? How can that wisdom support you in the days ahead? Hi, Suzanne. Welcome. I'm glad that you could join today. I know it's late where you are or very early, depending on how you want to look at it. Let's see. Okay, Michelle, it sounds like you're noticing the support in the spine. And what was the message? Nicole is wondering, let's see, how long will this slowing down be necessary? Not going to work and going through everything I own has been very grounding. It sounds like you're moving through the old and preparing for the new, Nicole. The slowing down is, hate to break it to you, but it's kind of like for the next year. Saturn in Mula Nakshatra is such a reminder to pull up the weeds and to ground, to land. And we do that by going slowly. Calamity and misfortune often comes when we're disconnected, when we're moving too swiftly, when we're pushing past our own inner wisdom and we're not leaning in and listening enough. And so with all the uprooting in our structure and our support system right now, and finding the new needs and gathering the new resources and tools we need in order to really put the roots down and so the branches can grow wide, it requires that we keep slowing down, turning within, tending to our inner wisdom, and listening more and more. So I'm going to say slow and steady wins the race. When we get into, a year from now, there's going to be more watering the seeds that we plant right now. But for now, and then the harvest comes after that. But for now, we've got to go really slowly in order to change the old patterns, create new pathways, and not get stuck in our old patterns and our old behaviors. This is a time of really pulling up those weeds. All right, looks like Michelle's spine is saying, believe in myself. Beautiful, Michelle. What are some of the resources that you can use and some action steps you can take in the coming days to honor that message, the knowing that you believe in yourself, and the wisdom from your support in the body that's literally saying, believe in myself. Welcome, Carol. Thanks for sharing. Sounds like you're having some tension in your shoulders. I'm wondering if you were able to do our check-in. We just did a self check-in, and I'm going to invite you to re-listen to the class today and to do that check-in. And in a way to resource from the challenge directly, the challenge that lives in the body, is to literally move closer to it. So lean into the tension in the shoulders and ask, what do you need? What are you trying to share with me? And then create some action steps to support that need. We're just about to close. I just want to check in and see if there are any other needs, any other questions, anything else showing up today. Great, Carol. Share your harvest in the comments below. Let us know what you find from leaning into the shoulder tension and asking. Glad the meditation was helpful for you, Suzanne. So let's pause. I'm going to take a deep breath. I ask and invite all of us to take a group breath right now. Come back to your intention for the days ahead. Connect with that place of support that you identified in the body. And remember its message. What does it have to share with you? Remember these keys for the days ahead. Honor your needs. Take action steps. Make choices that keep moving you towards your needs. Don't forget to ask for support and guidance along the way. If you're ready to take some action steps and gather more resources and support, reach out to me and schedule a free Dharma coaching session with me so we can have a lean in and help you clarify what you need and some next steps. I will post that information above the video. Just want to say thank you all for joining live today, asking your questions and leaning in. And ask your questions in the comment section below. I'll continue to check in and be gentle with yourselves in the coming days. It's a delicate week with the Moon K2 conjunction, and let's see what comes of it. Share along the way. I'll be checking in, even though I'll be doing some traveling later this week, and this is a place for us to continue to gather and honor our inner waters and our inner wisdom. And we do that by tracking the moon and the transits and using that in reference to our own Jyotish chart. We do this harvesting through embodiment and somatics by leaning in and cultivating a relationship with the depths within. We do it through creativity, through art, through resourcing from our life force and the creative waters and a wisdom that moves through us in so many ways. We do it through moving our body and listening and harvesting through the movement and the transformation process. We do it through honoring the emotional body and its wisdom, tapping, EFT, transforming through that process, taking challenge and turning it into resource, turning it into light. And we do it through a variety of Vedic resources as well. I'm here to support you in your journey. I want you to succeed. I want you to step into your power. It's a big passion of mine. So check in if you need to. Reach out to me as needed, and continue to share your harvest, your needs, your questions along the way. And I'll see you next Monday for Facebook Live, this Moon Wisdom class that I'm sharing with you every Monday at noon Mountain Time. Bye, everyone.